that no one would have bet on them. But actually, having a player like Deft means there might be some Deft fan that actually did make a bet on the team to win just for like, even if it's like $100 just for fun or something. Like, it's not impossible someone's going to win. I mean, they have to still win the final, by the way, which is a big if, but it's not even impossible someone wins that bet. It's not like one that no one would ever do.
Yeah. And even I think even if you did an outright at the semifinals, they were still at like 14 or something like that.
Oh, it makes sense. Yes,
it was an interesting stat too. So there were 8 people before the semifinals who still had the perfect bracket and like the bracket challenge that Riot always does, and all of them had T1 and Gen.G winning. So there are no perfect brackets.
I mean,
by the way, that's even a detail I wanted to make just so people understand how crazy this Cinderella run is. Across all the shows that I've done and watched, I actually managed to find people who took all 3 of the other teams on that side of the bracket. Like Jensen Goh had like EDG going to the finals. I can't remember who it was. Someone had Damwon going to the finals. Obviously, a lot of people had Gen.G. Nobody, not a single person on any show before the quarterfinals actually said DRX could make the final. Even people who thought they could win the first match, no one had them going to the finals. So like, that just stresses to me that like nobody predicted this whatsoever. This isn't the one where there's one guy like, oh, but I did say, but no one listened. That guy doesn't exist. The joke is no one even Korean had them fucking going there. Not even the craziest copium ever had this team going to the final.
You could go back and watch the Monte and Wolf show that we did before the Korean qualifier, where we're just like, we're not even going to talk about DRX.
We literally didn't talk about them. We were like, all right, so the only team we know is not going to Worlds is DRX. So let's focus on KT versus Sandbox and Damwon in this triangle. We did the triangle discussion about that, which was one of our best episodes. I thought was really interesting. But I literally said like, so let's just, we've already had a long show. We'll just leave DRX out. Like, I mean, that is how confident basically universally everyone was. This team is not even going to this tournament.
I mean, think about what they weren't supposed to be here, right? Then they weren't supposed to get first place in their group from RNG. If anything, you would have said, in this meta, RNG is the world's dark horse. Like, this is a team that's in play-ins that with this meta shift up, well, maybe they can actually make the finals. Maybe they could actually win, crazily enough. Nobody thought that about DRX, yet there they did. First game of play-ins, they clap RNG, they immediately get through to groups, right? They weren't supposed to make it at any point in time during this tournament. They weren't supposed to get out of their group in first place, right? Top was supposed to do much better than that, and Rogue was 3-0 coming out of that first week, took the win against DRX. Somehow, they managed to get first place in their group. Then everybody's like, oh, well, good thing they drew EDG, or this series would be very boring, because DRX would just get absolutely destroyed. They reverse sweep fucking EDG, and then they come in and just destroy the #1 team in Korea. They actually, by the way, guys, they had to beat both Top and Gen.G, 2 of the 3 favorites coming into this tournament, right? The only other one was JDG. Now, none of these teams are actually in the finals, crazily enough. Like, to have the top 3 teams that were pretty much universally agreed to be the leading teams at Worlds, and then you say, okay, this meta is good for T1, they have an outside shot. Nobody in hell thought DRX was going to be here. Like, you weren't like, wow, well, maybe with a weaker AD carry meta, the team with fucking Kingin is going to be the one in the finals. Like, that's outlandish.
Yep.
I'll even say, put it this way, we'll even meme on ourselves. Like, I'm going to tell the clip guy, like, for real, we'll just use our own material for this. We'll just make a compilation of us at every stage possible betting against DRX and saying they won't win and saying they won't do it, and just do the whole way through. Because whether they win or lose in the finals, it's going to be an insane video. Like, they really were supposed to lose every single step of the way.
Yeah. It's wild. Like, I think
even now, let's be real, like, we're still not really giving them a chance to win now. Like,
no.
Like, the joke is, it won't be until the moment they actually just pry that trophy that anyone's going to go. The joke is, I'm even going to do it. You ready, fans? If DRX somehow win, 1 minute after they win, I'll just do a tweet like, I think DRX could actually win Worlds now. You know, like some stupid jokes. That'll be the only moment anyone ever fucking believed in them.
The thing, and the fans, again, this is like fake hype about Zeka, or like rewriting Zeka's past. You guys don't want us to think that DRX has a chance to win, okay? Because first off, it's intellectually dishonest to believe that at this point in time, just straight up. Like, they should not be here. They should not have a chance in the final. This should be a very easy match.
What we said wasn't wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't wrong.
The result we predicted was correct.
Because if you insist that DRX is a team that should be competitive with T1 in this final, you are doing them a disservice if they win, because it's even more amazing if they fucking win at that point in time.
Like, if DRX win this final, I guess I'm just going to become a believer of predetermined fate. Like, I'm just going to be like, no, there is a puppeteer. There is actually someone who controls destiny. Like, it's not actually about like what actually makes sense anymore. There's actually someone.
By the way, I can tell you right now,
DRX is winning. It is determined.
Yeah,
if you know how fan narratives work, here's why it's annoying as well when they build up a team like this. Because if DRX is crap and it's a 3-0 for T1, people will go, yeah, but they only had to beat JDG, RNG, and DRX, didn't they? Like, who did they really even beat? You can't win. You can't win with fans like that, mate. They will always do that whack angle.
Yeah, it's also like, I mean, DRX's road to get here, especially like what was mentioned in our chat on the live viewing yesterday, was like just the mids that Zeka has had to overcome is fucking crazy. I mean, it's like Scout, Knight, Chovy, Larson. Like, I mean, all of those guys are supposed to be better than Zeka, by the way. All of them.
I saw a really cool post on Reddit, which is usually the opposite of what happens. But there was a post that said basically Zeka's performance yesterday is what people were hyped to see from Chovy and Knight and Doinby in the past, right? Like, what Zeka did in the flashiness of his plays and like the incredible story for the fans who don't watch his domestic region, he actually got to live up to a hype he didn't even have. Yep. Whereas like people like Chovy, people have this fan image of Chovy as the anime character who will smite the enemies and he will get the big numbers and he's just gonna walk across with his Azir and just shove the enemy teams into the bin. And then Zeka actually did that. I thought it was a really cool statement, just something that simple. But like, what Zeka was is what people thought Knight would be, is what people imagined what Knight and Chovy and Doinby in the past would be, is actually what Zeka is in reality in front of us, which I thought was a cool thing.
Yeah. Does anybody? I think 3-1 for T1.
That's my prediction as well. The other thing, the last thing I'll say about the DRX Gen.G series is that it was impossible to believe that DRX would win from an analyst perspective going into that series. We talked about it before, all of us before the show, and we were like, is there any angle? And the only angle we could come up with was Gen.G underperforms, right? And after game 2,
what about an angle about like Kingen being better than Doran, which ended up being true? I said it. I don't think Peanut's very good at Graves, so perhaps there's an angle where he underperforms on Graves, and which also happened, especially because we knew that Piotrek was going to play Kindred into it.
But overall, as the series progressed, like before game 1, we were like overall basically thinking the chances of them winning were, I guess we said 30 to 35%. But after game 2, we were all saying like 100% they win. And like Papa said halfway through game 2, I think the series is over. And like it was just so clear that like Gen.G were defeated, and it felt like there was no way.
Like mental boom.
Now, during the T1 series, next week or this weekend, there might be a time after game 2 where we go, okay, DRX is going to do this. But until that moment, like it's just, how can we see it? I can't see a world. I just can't. Like, we'll see what T1 looks like on the day, because that's the cool thing about these long, grueling tournaments is like how you show up on the day is more important than everything you did before that.
You picking T1 as well?
I'll go T1 3-0, because here's the big problem. Like I said before, to me, the final of Worlds, TI, the major, the problem is you've never experienced that pressure before. So if you're a DRX who already is overperforming in a bunch of different roles, there's a world where you just play game 1, even if game 1's close, you lose game 2. Like, to win that third game then is just such an impossible psychological challenge. You can get 3-0'd in finals. There's a reason why a lot of finals are bad, unfortunately, in esports. Like, I think the pressure overwhelms the game usually. So I would imagine T1 just rolls it personally. Like I say, I would expect the first game to be the best one.
I think at the very least, like T1 also has a bunch of young players, but both teams I think are less likely to choke because the two most experienced players, I mean, this is Barrel's third consecutive final. He's the shot caller on that roster, and Faker's not going to crumble under the pressure either. So at least the people who are making a lot of the macro calls are going to be the ones who have the most experience.
Not to mention also the newer players on T1 just did 2 back-to-back LCK finals and an MSI finals with having an entire run through MSI. So a lot of experience got flushed into these players like very early on. So they've all now leveled up. Owner obviously playing at Worlds last year too, and GOUD and stuff. So like and Kerry has played multiple Worlds. So like they are definitely, in terms of high pressure scenarios, I think overall the more veteran team for sure.
Also, by the way, I will say, normally Korean players, unless they actually have like a famous rivalry, they're not actually that well known for like volunteering trash talk. Dude, how fucking savage was that Deft line about Kerrier? If people don't know, used to be his old lane mate, where he said that line, he goes, Kerrier promised me that he'd get me a world's title, and now he's going to, like, fucking hell, dude, what the fuck? What the hell? That's your brother, like, that's sticking the knife right in him there, holy. I never expected that one, man. That was fire. That was some anime line this morning, like, fucking hell.
There's a moment where you get to be in front of the Western crowd and you realize, like, the Western fans love that stuff, and you're like, before you go, you're like, Def probably like before the series, he's like, if I win, I'm gonna put that line in there. The fans will love that.
Wait, here's what really cements how nobody thought DRX was winning. Right, when I made that video about Deft, mate, all the comments from Deft fans were like, amazing video, just a shame he won't be winning this next game. It's like, you're even his fan, like, dude, none of them believed. No one believed. The joke was just making semis was success for that team,
Yeah. Good video if you guys have a chance.
By the way, if they do win Worlds as well, I'll just tell you right now, like League of Legends is just turn off, or just basically if DRX wins Worlds, I know everyone's computer is a laptop, but just close it down until next year. Like, we're all just going to go on, like, we're not going to have any discussion, because it's good. The fans are going to ruin all narrative discussions, aren't they, if they actually win Worlds?
I think if DRX wins Worlds, then Dom is actually going to have to go like deep into the wilderness and hide for like 3 months in order to save his own sanity. He's going to have to go on a spiritual retreat for a while just to get away from the fucking fans.
Yes, he's going to basically have to embrace Vipassana and just go on like a 30-day retreat or something, isn't he, to just get all the fucking tweets out of his mind. Like, finally, they're all gone.
The best part about it being an LCK, all LCK final is there's just no discussion about, should we care about which region wins or which team wins. There's only one region, so the region discussion just goes away, which is my least favorite part of every Worlds international competition ever, is which region is the best. I'm like, the Korean president doesn't come and lift the trophy in the end, actually. So I think this is actually not the important thing, but yeah, I'm glad that we get to also have a finals where it's not like, the one region is like, I hope they win because therefore my ego is sated because it's so important for me for where I'm from to be the region that wins the championship instead of actually looking at the team. So we get that bonus. If it was an LPL versus LPL final, I'd feel the same way. No more region discussion. Just who's the best team in this tournament.
But also Korea's the best region.
But we don't have to have that discussion anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
People are very quiet about it. The ones who want to deny that are very quiet these days.
Yeah, and also if you like high-level League of Legends, you should be enjoying the teams for their own individual qualities, which is why I enjoyed JDG so much this World Championship as well. Super fun team. All right, do you want to take a quick break and then we'll do some viewer questions? Yeah. We'll do that when we get back. We'll see you in a couple.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.